Welcome to the third video of the BRRRR Financing Strategy series. By now, you've learned about rate and term and cash-out refinances. However, they both have their downsides. A rate and term refinance doesn't allow you to cash out, and a cash-out refinance forces you to wait 6 months, have lower LTVs, and comes at a higher loan cost. What if you can get the best of all worlds? Highest LTVs, lowest rates, and no seasoning. The BRRRR strategy is attractive because you can potentially pull out all of your money after the project is done. But what if you didn't need to put all of your money in the first place? Then you would need to cash out, right? This is what I call the 100% financing or rate and term hack. Consider this. By getting a loan for 100% of your costs up front, you can actually do a rate and term refinance within 6 months and get a higher LTV. Remember that rate and term refinance can get you 5% higher LTV than cash outs. So on a single family house, that's 80% LTV, and on 2 to 4 units, it's 75% LTV. Here's an example from our first video where our ARV was originally $160,000, but the appraisal came back $10,000 lower, which reduced our cash out proceeds and left some money in the deal. However, since we're getting a loan for 100% of our costs up front and then doing a rate and term refinance, we can go up to 80% LTV instead of 75%. So the lower appraisal didn't affect our ability to get an infinite return in this deal. So you benefit from being able to refinance faster, therefore paying less hard money holding costs, higher LTV, which can save your butt if an appraisal comes in lower, and a lower rate, compared to getting a cash out at the same loan amount and LTV. There are a few ways to implement this, and I've personally done all of this as an investor. The first is to get gap financing, which usually means a private lender in second lien position to provide funds for your down payment on the first lien. Although I've also done it using third liens too, if the down payment was too big for a single private lender to finance. The biggest thing is that all of this has to be done at the same time when you buy the property. You cannot record a second lien a day after closing. If you record it after, then it wouldn't count as a rate and term refinance in the conventional world. The rate and term will pay off all mortgage liens recorded at the purchase closing. So if you record the second lien after closing, then you need to wait 6 months to do a cash out refinance to pay it off. The other way to do this is to actually get your lender to finance 100% of your total costs. This may be more preferred to most folks since you don't actually need another party or to get another lender involved in the transaction, because things always get more complicated when more people are involved. So there's a couple ways to do that. Obviously, one is find a lender that actually does 100% financing. Keep in mind that this is really hard to find, especially in the hard money world. And if you do find it, it's usually very expensive. Unless you have a private lender, then everything's negotiable and you can finance however you want. The other way is to do a cross collateralization, which requires you to own another property that's either free and clear or has a lot of equity. Keep in mind that this is different from getting a loan on another property and then using that as a down payment on the property that you're buying, because that way it doesn't record a lien against the subject property that looks like 100% financing, which is what we're trying to accomplish. The final way to do this hack is to not actually get 100% financing, but to make it look like it. I've heard this loan called a down payment reserve or down payment deposit. Basically, it's a regular loan that you put in a down payment for, except that you ask the lender to keep your down payment and then write the note at 100% of your total costs. You're essentially using your own down payment as a pledge or a collateral. You'll need to find a lender that can do this, whether it's hard money or private money, which is going to be hard because most of them have never heard about something like this. My company, Certain Lending, is a national hard money lender that can do this. Now, out of all these options, I like the last one the best because you don't need to rely on anybody else. You don't need another property, and it feels like a normal loan. The downside is that it actually requires you to put in a down payment compared to the other methods, although it generally is a bit cheaper than the other methods too. Ultimately, you decide what's going to best work for your situation. And on the next video, we're going to do a complete 180. Instead of doing 100% financing, we'll be doing 0% financing up front to do the BRRRR.